Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and in today's video we're looking at some cases from Benks for the iPhone 16 Pro. We have the Benks Armor Tint and also the Armor Pro Montage. A massive thank you to Benks for sending these over for the purpose of review, so let's take a look. Okay guys, so here we have the two cases. On the left here we have the Armor Pro Montage, and then on the right the Armor Tint, which is the lesser of the two when it comes to protection for the iPhone 16 Pro, and that's the first one that we're going to be taking a look at. Now this particular case comes in at $45.99, so again on the more premium side of things, but that's because of the Kevlar material that's built on board in regards to the overall look and finish and also the feel of the case itself. Now this particular case does come in three different colorways, and the version that I have here is the Aurora colorway, which is basically like a military green. You've also got a blue and also a reddish brownish tint colored one, which is going to go perfect with the titanium desert color of the iPhone 16 Pro this year. And straight away when you take the case out of the packaging, you can feel just how thin and light this case is with that Kevlar material. It's got a super nice look and feel to it, and a very minimal Benks branding just on here on the camera housing side of things. Now like I mentioned, you've got the multiple color options, but I really do like this Aurora colorway with this kind of black and green tint to it. It just in general has a really nice look and feel to it. Then on the inside here you can see that you've got your MagSafe ring and the alignment magnet along with some Kevlar branding. I'm actually a massive fan of the fact that the majority of the branding is going to be on the inside of the case and not on the outside, and you don't really have those egregious logos and branding on the outside of the case here. You've got your ports and cutouts all on the bottom here for the USB-C and speaker, along with some slits in the case for the overall protection. Now because it is going to be a thin and minimal case, you do just have a plain cutout for the volume up and down and also the action button. You don't have any sort of covering whatsoever, which also means that on the other side the power button is going to be like that, and also your camera control. So you've kind of got a W effect here to the case itself. So the protection side of things isn't maybe up there with some other cases, but again this is a very thin and light overall case. Now, although it is a very minimal and slim case, you still get the protection from the camera housing side of things, a very minimal lay on the table, but it's definitely not for those bigger drops. You still get the benefit of MagSafe, and we'll see just how the MagSafe wallet holds up in just a moment, but if you're looking for a bit more in terms of the protection side of things, that's where the Armor Pro Montage case comes into play. And the strange thing is that with this particular case, it offers more when it comes to the protection side of things, but it's actually cheaper, coming in at $42.99, so a little bit cheaper for more protection. But anyway, the case here has a really nice look and feel to it with this montage design to it. And you can see again you've got the minimal Benks branding just on the camera housing side of things there as well, and you also have a little bit of branding down the bottom side of things here with the Montage art branding as well. So it's actually in collaboration, I think, from the sounds of it, with Montage, whatever that may be. But again, you can see on the inside here you've got all of your MagSafe rings and also the Kevlar branding, because this particular case is made with 600D and 1500 dew point Kevlar, so it's super nice and very, very durable. As you can see here, you've also got all of your cutouts on the bottom side of things with regards to the speaker side of things and the USB-C, and plenty of space there for multiple different cables. You're not going to have any issues, and of course because it has more protection on this particular case, you've got full side coverage and also completely covered buttons, nothing along the top side, and then on the right side you can see here completely covered power button and a nice deep cutout for the camera control side of things. Although it's not going to be covered, you do still have a nice dimple there so you can get access to the camera control, no issue at all. As you can see here, it dips in quite nicely, and hopefully it's going to be nice to rest your fingers on there. Now the case itself, again being made of that Kevlar material, is going to pick up some fingerprints, so let's just take my iPhone 16 Pro here, place it inside the case and see what we're working with. And straight away, once the phone is in the case, it actually feels pretty darn good. It's got an overall super nice tight fit to it, and in general the Kevlar backing here has a really nice soft touch feel to it. However, that does also mean then from the fingerprint side of things, it is actually going to be picking up a ton of fingerprints. Now as you can see here, you've got everything that's going to be completely covered, so a lot more protection that we're going to find with the first case here. Your camera housing on the back here offers a ton of protection. It doesn't necessarily protrude too much, so if you are placing it down on a table, for example, you may want to take a little bit of care depending on where you are, because again it doesn't stick out too much, but it's still going to protect them anyway. Now of course you then have the covered buttons, and obviously down the bottom here the USB-C. So the USB-C side of things, your speaker side of things, you've got perfect cutouts here. I've tried multiple USB-C cables and I have had no issues whatsoever, so again again, no problems there. Again, your buttons are going to be completely covered and they've got a super nice tactile feel to them, and you can already see based on the material of the case it is also picking up a ton of fingerprints, but that's kind of just how it goes when it comes to the Kevlar finish here. Like I mentioned though, the buttons themselves do feel extremely nice. For some reason the action button on this particular case isn't necessarily as clicky as the other buttons, but again, if you need to get access to it quickly, you're going to have no issues at all. But then again, I don't really use the action button all that much. And then on the right hand side, again, you can see a ton of smudges and fingerprints because that's just kind of what happens with this case. But then you've got your camera control side of things, which like I mentioned is super easy to get to. So if you need to get quick access to your camera and you're in the mood for using the camera control button, then again, no issues at all getting in there and using the gestures, the swipe gestures, the double press, the light press. You're going to have no problems there. And in general, it feels pretty good. And of course, then you do have the covered power button as well. Now, the cool thing about this is because it does go in, if you are going to be dropping the phone on that particular side, you're not really going to have any issues. However, like you can already see just from using the phone for a small period of time, if I just kind of put my hands on it and put my fingers on it here, you can see just how much smudges and grease this case actually picks up. Now, that's not because I've got particularly greasy hands, that's just the nature of the Kevlar material. It just picks up a ton of dirt and grime, and that's kind of the same across the board, regardless of which company you're going to be using. If they use the Kevlar or the aramid fiber side of things, then you're going to expect to have a dirtier than average case. But then again, the whole point of the case is to protect the phone, not to look necessarily nice, so it does a great job nonetheless. However, with the Armor Tint Case here, you can see here that it offers very, very minimal protection, but it also doesn't really pick up as many fingerprints. And it was actually a little bit hard to get the phone into the case because the fit side of things is just so good. And if anything, around the back side of things here, when it comes to the camera protection, the camera actually protrudes a little bit more with regards to the protective bumper here. So I think it offers a little bit more protection than the Armor Pro case that we were looking at just a moment ago. Of course, you've got all of your cutouts down the bottom here, and you do also have these slight slits here in the side of the case, and that's just in regards to help you getting it on and off, and just in general offering a little bit more protection instead of having large cutouts like this here down the bottom. So as you can see here, you've got one large cutout for the volume up and down, and also the action button side of things. So again, with regards to tactility, not really anything to speak about here because you're just pressing these standard buttons here. Power button is going to be exactly the same, and then like I mentioned, you have that W-shaped cutout when it comes to the power button and also the camera control side of things, and I actually don't really mind it too much. For me, it kind of looks nice in a way. You can see here the two buttons, you've got a nice symmetrical cutout here. It doesn't look as egregious as some other cases, so I think in general it does a pretty good job. Of course, getting access to the camera control side of things is the best way to do it because you use the built-in button that Apple made. There's no covering, there's no sort of dimple that you need to get your finger into, for example. It just works perfectly fine no matter what you want to do with the camera control side of things. But again, the protection side of it maybe isn't there compared to some other cases. Because of these cutouts that you've got here on the side, if you do drop your device and it drops in the wrong place, your screen is going to be completely smashed, and the side here is probably going to get dented as well, so maybe not the best when it comes to the overall protection side of things. You can see here that the top is going to be completely covered, and again on the bottom side of things here, and like I mentioned, you've got those slits down the bottom here, and that's just to help get the case off from time to time if you need to. But of course, with this particular case, you're going to be looking at around $45.99, and that's a little bit pricey maybe for some people. And yes, okay, it looks nice, it's got those nice materials to it, but in terms of the overall cost compared to the protection side of things, looking after your $1,000 device, it's maybe not the best option out there. For me, the Armor Pro case is probably going to be the way forward. However, I'd probably get it in a different colorway to, again, sort of reduce some of these fingerprints. But in general, I think this is probably the way to go if you're looking for the overall protection side of things. Of course, when it comes to MagSafe, I've got here the Andar MagSafe case, and it fits and looks extremely nice. Again, the green on green finish here looks really good. The magnets themselves are extremely strong. Again, once this is on there, you've got the downward alignment magnet. I can't see this thing going anywhere at all, regardless of the MagSafe accessory you're going to be using. If you've got a car mount or you use a wireless MagSafe charger, for example, then I think in terms of the overall protection side of things and in general how it looks with the wallet on the back here, I think it's a pretty good color combination. Now, you do also have some other options from Benks when it comes to the overall protection. You've got things like the Armor Air, the Armor Pro, the Tint, the Montage, the 600D Lite. So you've got a ton of different options depending on the type and look and feel of case that you're looking for. However, for me, this one here in the Aurora Green is probably the best looking and feeling case, but again, it just doesn't offer the overall protection. Also, when trying to get the case off, it's a little bit easier to do so than I thought it would be. So again, for me, I don't necessarily think that that's the option I'm going to go for. For me, the Armor Pro is probably the way forward, one for the overall protection side of things, and just because everything's going to be covered when it comes to the ports and also the buttons. buttons. But guys, as always, I want to know from you in the comment section down below if you've got a new device currently, whether it's the Pixel 9, the iPhone 16 or any other device, and what case you are currently using. Also, if you've got any recommendations for cases you want me to take a look at here in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. That is going to do it guys for this video on the Benks cases, and of course if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like down below, and they are also going to be linked in the description down below, so if you want to pick one up for yourselves, then you've got the option to do so. Also, if you're not already subscribed, now's a great time to do so, and of course once you've hit that subscribe button, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you're notified anytime I post a video here on the channel. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.